You probably know that plants get their energy from the sun through their leaves in a process called photosynthesis. We humans don't have our own leaves, but maybe we can get energy from the sun in a different ways, electrical energy that is. Could there be some kind of electrical leaf? The solar cell gathers light from the sun and generates electricity just as a leaf generates. Food for a plant, let's find out how. The sun emits energy in the form of waves. These waves can range in length from short ultraviolet waves through the rainbow of the visible spectrum to long infrared waves. When the sun is shining, these waves move towards the earth and hit the surface of solar cells. Let's take a closer look. The active part of a solar cell is a wafer made of semiconductor material, typically silicon. A semiconductor is a type of material that normally doesn't conduct electricity well, but it can be made more conductive under certain conditions.
The semiconductor part of solar has three layers. The thin top layer contains very tiny of elements such as phosphorus that has more electrons than silicon. This gives the top layer an access the electron. They are free to move and make the material more conductive. The top layer is also called as negative type or n type as it favors the collection of electrons and transport of electrons. The thin bottom layer contains both silicon and an element such as boron that has fewer electrons than silicon. This gives the bottom layer fewer electrons that are free to move, this making the material less conductive for electrons. A missing electrons can be described as an effective positive charge. Therefore, the bottom layer is called positive charge or a p-type, as it preferentially favors the collection and transport. The thicker middle layer has only slightly fewer electrons, making a marginally p-type. Thin middle lines, typically made of silver, are printed on the top n-type layer, and the bottom p-type layer is in contact with an aluminum plate.
When light waves hit the top surface of the silicon solar cells, only light wavelength from a specific window of the solar spectrum 350 to 1140 nanometer are absorbed into the middle layer of the solar cell. This range of wavelength includes the visible spectrum. Ultraviolet wavelengths are so short they stop at the surface, and infrared wavelengths are so long they cannot be absorbed and pass right through the cell or are reflected back. The light wave knocks an electron off a silicon atom, setting the electron loss and leaving an area of positive charges where the electron used to be. The lost electron then moves toward the top and reaches the n-type layer, which radially accepts electron. Similarly, the lost holes moves toward the bottom and reaches the bottom p-type layer, which really accepts holes. This continues as long as sunlight shines on the solar cell. Now that the electron and the holes have been separated, connection of wire between the top and the bottom metal electrodes provide a pathway for the electron to move toward flow of electron is electrical current.
One solar cell produces several watts of power. This may be sufficient for running a calculator or a phone charger, but it is not sufficient for running a toaster, for example, which uses 1000 watts. So, several solar cells, typically 32, are wired together to make a solar panel. Several solar panels are needed to generate enough electricity to power, like loops. Solar cells are a viable way to convert the sun's rays directly into electricity that we can use. Future challenges include improving the efficiency by which a solar cells convert sunlight to electricity and making the solar energy cheaper. Of course, solar cells produces electricity only during the day, so storing the electricity efficiently for use during nighttime is another important challenge. Advancement in solar technology present the potential to power our lives.
So
here you can see an example of an off-grid system. As you can see, the system consists of several components and I'm gonna introduce in this video. Let's start with batteries. Batteries store the solar energy. Solar batteries work by storing the DC energy being produced by the solar panels and giving back to when you need it. There are different types of solar batteries used in solar system and you can choose them according to your specific requirements. Here the batteries are connected in series with each other to increase the voltage of the system. Each battery has a positive and negative terminal and you can connect them in parallel or series to change of voltage and the capacity of your off-grid system. This is the charge controller. It manages the power going into the battery bank from your solar panels. It is also ensure a healthy charge profile for the batteries and stops the power running backward to the solar panels overnight. Typically, charge controllers come in two technologies, the maximum power point taking MPPT plus with width modulation of PWM, and this controller is an example of MPPT charge controller. In this inverter converts the direct current or DC output of the battery into the alternating current or AC, which enables you to power your AC equipments with the use of batteries. This is the monitoring device which will be connected to the charge controller and is responsible to provide you with information about your solar set such as voltage, current, power, temperature and so on. DC and AC breakers provide methods for use to stop current and voltage being supplied to the equipment. So when we would like to remove our service, those items are in the event of an overcurrent, they come really handy. Solar panels and batteries are the DC source. Therefore, DC switches are used for solar panels and batteries. DC switch is connected to the inverter's output consumers in case of abnormal condition. So using the AC switch we have the control over the AC output. Okay, there are lots of connections here. Let's find how to wire the off-grid system. Two connections out of batteries, one from the positive terminal and the other from negative terminal. Battery positive terminal goes to charge positive battery's terminal and battery negative goes to the charge negative battery terminal. The bus bar makes it possible to split the connections. This means that the positive is connected to the two places and the negative is also connected to two places. Then the negative connection once goes to the charger and inverter and the positive goes to charger and inverter. This is called the rail or DIN rail, which is metal strip and that is used for mounting DC and AC breakers for securely attaching electrical and industrial control products such as circuit breakers or terminal blocks, and here we mounted our switch on it. Okay. I remove the cover here. Here I have the PV positive and negative terminals, battery positive and negative. The DC loads positive and negative terminals, turning this DC current on will connect the batteries to charge controller and will turn it on. As you can see, the charge controller is on and it's displaying same parameters on its LCD. During this DC switch on the connect the solar panels, positive and negative terminals to the charge controller. Now I turn the inverter on and turning the AC switch on will bring the power to the plug. So I plug an AC consumer like this drill and it will let me use my AC equipment.